I'm unstoppable. Forget your defense, nothing but an obstacle. Run it back, switch it up, call it audible. Serving up them Hail Marys till the game over with the showstopper. So hot, you gotta blow on it. I said I'll huff and I'll puff, then I'll pass to my left while I'm looking to my right. Hit him right in the chest. It be looking like magic, better give me the throne. I ain't talking about Patrick, but I rep my home. I'm never at the end of my zone. I'm bad to the bone, eating up these pig skins like they chicharrones. And you a douche cabron. Mira, mira at the mirror on the wall. I'm the greatest of them all. They gon' put me in the hall. Your name is only written in a bathroom stall. Quit your stalling and make a play. My drive too long, pop the clutch, I don't pump the brakes. I know what it takes to gain the muscle, get rugged. These butterfingers be fumbling, squash the scrimmage and rub it in Robitussin. How I give them concussion, they seeing double, they rushing and pass the shovel, the dirt and rubble, I bury them under it. Stay in your huddle and get 10 yards back, never turn your back. I'ma pull your flag, I go full contact, out punch, out kick like a shotgun blast on 1 out snap. It's a fact that I'm unstoppable. Forget your defense, nothing but an obstacle. Run it back, switch it up, calling audible. Serving up them Hail Marys till the...
You guys see me?
Nope.
We cannot. The invincible
well.
one.
Yes, Invisible Josh Sr. on the episode. Harish, can you take over while I fix this?
Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome back to the Horseshoe Mob Fan Battle Podcast. Got our boys here. We got the faceless one, Josh Sr. Josh, you can't hear me. Excellent. Ryan, what's up, man? How you doing?
I'm doing good. I'm finally over being sick. 3 weeks without doing a podcast. It kind of sucked. Not being able to post nothing. Yeah, the last one was like 3 weeks ago. It's crazy. Those algorithm from YouTube's gonna not be very nice to me.
That's all right. Well, at least you had some time to recover, and we're glad you're feeling better. And then, of course, we got our silent assassin, Austin Cook. What's up, Austin? How you doing?
What's up? I'm Austin.
Awesome. And of course, I'm your temporary host until Josh can find his face. Harish Nukala. And we're back, boys. We are season 4. Combine is this week. Lots of really, really good players to talk about. If you are a team that needs a tight end or a team that needs a defensive end, this is the draft for you. And hey, look at us. That's exactly what we need. So we got a lot to talk about. But first, as always, before we get started, fanbattlesports.com, fanbattlesports.com, where you can get the latest and greatest from the Indianapolis Colts, the Jacksonville Jaguars, the Tennessee Titans, and the Houston Texans. Visit the website, check out past episodes, check out everything that we posted there. And of course, if you're interested in starting your own show, hit the contact us link. Let us know. We'll help you get started. fanbattlesports.com. All righty, folks. Gentlemen, actually, one more thing before we get started, of course, as always. Like, subscribe, comment in the chat. Tell your friends, tell your family, tell your dog, tell your neighbor, tell everybody that you know. And help us get to 300 followers by the NFL Draft, 300 subscribers by the NFL Draft. Interact with us during our live shows, all that fun stuff. And, of course, follow us on Twitter at Horseshoe Mob Podcast. And, of course, on TikTok, Josh is putting out some great content out there. So make sure to follow us on TikTok at Horseshoe Mob. At Horseshoe Mob, yeah. All righty, folks, gentlemen. We're going to start with Chris Ballard here because, of course, Chris Ballard had his annual pre-combine podcast. And before we really dig deep into some of the things he said, most of it was blabbering, but a lot of it there was some intricate details in there. But high level, Austin, we'll go with you since Ryan, you just talked about this probably on your show. What were your thoughts from the conference? What did you pull from it, and what are some high level things you saw there?
Yes, I mean, like you said, it was mainly just blabbering. He didn't really say a lot, which we've come to know Chris Ballard is good at, saying a lot of nothing. He says we're going to bring in another quarterback, which we knew we needed anyways with not bringing Joe Flacco back. Whether that's somebody to actually compete with AR or somebody like Joe Flacco, who fans are going to be mad if he gets in the game. We'll see. Um, he said he mentioned Braden Smith, which we thought maybe be somebody we cut. It doesn't seem like it based off of the things he was saying. He mentioned a few names. We can get into it deeper in a little bit, but he didn't really say a lot that I feel like a lot of fans were happy with.
As per usual. Ryan, what were your thoughts? I know you just came off of your show, so what did you think?
I didn't take too much away from it. I mean, you could gather a few tea leaves from it, but it's just the same old, same old. It's going to be completely vague about everything that he speaks about, unless you're talking about Samson Ebukam, which apparently he has an infatuation for. Um, but other than that, he says that he's going to bring in competition for the quarterback position. I'm going to say you're full of crap. You're going to bring in a Mac Jones, a Daniel Jones type. You're going to bring in a Flacco. You're not going to bring in somebody that's actually going to compete for the position like Justin Fields. So the press conference, to me, I watched it twice to see if I actually missed something. Because some of these tea leaves are kind of hard to grasp onto, but nope, it's the same stuff.
Yeah, that's kind of what I grabbed from it. There's a lot of different things that he just kind of says, right? And he just throws pickles and nuggets out there, and we have to play mental math with what he says because he likes to play mental gymnastics. His RAS scores are very high when it comes to his press conferences. So, yeah, I mean, some things were obvious, like you mentioned, QB competition. What I don't know what that means. Could that mean like they bring in somebody, which is what we obviously assume it would mean, right? Or is there something else there where it's like, hey, maybe we go get somebody in the draft that we think can compete with Anthony Richardson, which is also very telling with what they say internally about Anthony Richardson, right? Like they were talking about like the way that they made it sound is like, hey, Richardson's not safe, right? This is something he's going to have to earn, and it's something that he's going to have to figure out on his own, and that fun thing, those fun things that are out there. So we'll see what that amounts to. I'm not really looking too hard into it, but since we're talking for the sake of open competition, Austin, what do you feel like would be the right thing to do here if we're talking about an open competition or a quarterback competition of any sorts?
Yeah, I agree with what Ryan said. Like, if the Steelers don't re-sign Justin Fields, which I feel like they will, but if they don't, I feel like he would be a perfect quarterback to come in to compete with AR, and whoever wins that starting role wins the starting role. A guy in the draft that we might can get a little later, I think could be Jackson Dart. I don't think he's great yet, but I feel like he can be great. Um, so I mean, if we go free agent like Justin Fields, if draft Jackson Dart.
Jackson Dart is very interesting to me. I think I like bits and pieces of Jackson Dart, but if I look at Jackson Dart as a whole, he's just a mid quarterback. Like he hasn't accomplished anything in times of need that his team needs him. He hasn't been there. Like last year, we saw the Kentucky game. Like he throws 3 interceptions in 5 minutes in a game that they could have won or should have won, right? And then I think it was like the LSU game, or maybe there's a game later, the second game that they lost. And yeah, I mean, I don't know if it's the system that Lane Kiffin runs, and Lane Kiffin is a pretty good offensive mind. He's not like a slouch when it comes to offense. And they had a really good wide receiver who's also coming out of the draft, by the way. But just overall, Jackson Dart is very interesting. He's gotten a lot of the pre-draft buzz that people expect. We'll see how he tests out. But Ryan, when we talk about open competition, I know. Obviously, Austin mentioned a couple names: Jackson Dart for the draft, Justin Fields for free agency. Who are you looking at as far as competition? What does that word competition in this instance, in this substance, mean to you?
To me, in this type of environment, competition means pushing Anthony Richardson. Like, you're not guaranteed to have this job from the jump, week one. Uh, there needs to be a quarterback that comes in that can actually push him, and the coaching staff themselves believe, okay, well, he doesn't have the job. Open quarterback competition means he doesn't have the job and he has to earn it. What I believe happened this past season, a big aspect was that he kind of lost the locker room, and we didn't exactly have a great backup. Everybody was calling for Flacco to play. I get it. Oh, he did so great with the Cleveland Browns the year before. I understand, but we all saw what transpired. And did he truly push Anthony Richardson to be the best version of himself? No, I don't think so. I think the benching did that. But you're not gonna you're not going to get the full potential, the maximum potential from Anthony Richardson unless you bring in somebody that's going to push him to be better. Having the coaching staff say one thing is fine, but bringing in, let's say they sign Justin Fields, that's going to be a reality check and be like, oh crap, this job isn't mine. I'm actually going to have to work for it.
Yeah. Is there another guy? I mean, obviously Justin Fields is the obvious option, right? Is there another guy that could also potentially push him in a sense that's going to force him to actually need to compete? We're talking free agents here. Need to compete in order to keep his job. Are there any names that are in free agency that you're like, man, maybe, but I don't know.
Jameis Winston.
That's an open question.
That could be one, yeah.
But Jameis?
There's one.
Sam Darnold, but he might be expensive coming off of last season.
The GOAT, Sam Darnold. Listen, Sam Darnold's the name I had in mind. And I know I've been a Sam Darnold guy on this show for a long time. I've told you guys, look, Sam Darnold's not a bad quarterback. Sam Darnold was a really good quarterback at SC. He was not good in the NFL, mostly due to injury and poor organizations, right? He went to the Jets. He then goes to Carolina, who's historically been an up and down franchise, and then he goes to the Niners, and you kind of see like the talent there, right? An organization that knows what they're doing, an organization that's not, wishy-washy, I guess you could say. And then you really see the flashes when you put him in an organization like the Vikings, right? Now you think about what the Colts bring to a Sam Darnold. They bring an offense that he's familiar with, an offense he can pick up really, really quickly, and an offense that's going to have players that can help him be formidable, right? And help him grow. And he's got wide receiver now. Obviously, you got to address the tight end, and we'll talk about that here in a second. But I think, listen, is a $10 million quarterback as a backup really expensive? Maybe. I mean, if you're thinking about like what the high end guys are making, like $30-40 million, probably not that bad if you think about it, right? But I mean, that's a quarterback that I think that can push Anthony Richardson, and we'll see what Anthony Richardson looks like with all the mechanic works that he's done in the offseason. But I think that's a guy that's somebody to look out for. Another guy that I'm really, really high on in the draft that a lot of guys aren't is Quinn Ewers. Like, I think Quinn Ewers is a guy who, if he can stay healthy, now he hasn't been fully healthy for a season since his junior year in high school, and that's probably been the downfall of Quinn Ewers. He's reportedly today fully healthy for the first time in 2 years. Right? No injuries, completely healed up from the oblique injury, the shoulder, the broken collarbone that he's suffered twice. There's a little bit of an assumption there that he's probably a little bit injury prone. He is a little bit smaller. But when Quinn Ewers is healthy, he makes some really, really good throws, and he's a guy that can put some balls in places that a lot of NFL quarterbacks can't do. So if there was somebody there that I think in the draft could be somebody that's valuable, I'm pushing the Quinn Ewers narrative, and he's going to throw this week, and I think he's going to fly up draft charts. He's already been reportedly in the last couple of years really high by NFL scouts, and I think he's just going to um, um, soar in that respects. Josh, I know you've had some camera issues. Kind of last couple of things is the open competition that we've talked about. Before we get to some of Cody Blankenship's, Trevor Lawrence is in a generational quarterback comments. What are your thoughts on this open competition? First off, what does it mean to you in the context of the Colts? And name a guy, whether it's a guy in free agency or a guy in the draft that you'd be interested in.
Can you guys hear me?
Yep.
What it meant to me was what it means for me was he just needed a guy that was push our starting quarterback, which is AR currently right now, to be what they thought he would be when they drafted him. Pre-draft, they thought he'd be a special quarterback that could lead us. It's just that they knew that it would take time. They didn't give him that time because the last 2 years they gave him the position, the starting position, and he was injured 1 year, and last year he had his moments where he was good and not so good, and he tapped out, which everybody knows him as the tap out quarterback right now. He just got to beat that allegation. But I mentioned, Jameis Winston, even though I know everybody in the world, make fun of him for throwing pick sixes and picks. But, Jameis is going to push him. I know we mentioned Justin Fields, who plays similar. Justin Fields probably better accurate quarterback than he is. I know you mentioned Sam Darnold. He's just going to cost a lot of money. I don't think Sam Darnold will want to come to be a backup, which I think he got the ability to be the starter with what he did last year with the Vikings. I don't think it'd be 10 million. I think it'd be more than that. It'd probably bump up to a pay increase, maybe 20 million. I don't know, meaning the free agent class of quarterbacks are pretty bad. So it has to be a guy that we draft that's going to push him. And you mentioned Quinn Ewers. That would be a good fit. I'm trying to think another guy in draft that could do that. But offhand, I don't know. I think they mentioned the guy from Notre Dame. It's Notre Dame and then Indiana. Those two quarterbacks could be a guy that will not replace, but help with the competition. So it'd be interesting. I mean, I know for the past couple of days, been comments saying that it could be Aaron Rodgers, it could be Kirk Cousins, and list other names. I don't think those guys will help us. I don't think for his competition. Kirk Cousins is done. Aaron Rodgers is done. He went to the Jets and they gave him everything he needed, and he still failed. I know he's over 40 years old. But I think his time has came and gone, and we need to find somebody that's going to compete, not just get a guy that's arrogant and does so much those antics on social media and goes out and think up the play. So we had that already. We had that in several other quarterbacks for the past 8 years where we failed at. So I think we need to really take this serious for us competition. My question to you guys is: are we looking for a starter for a competition, or we're looking to push our quarterback that we have now?
I think you need somebody with a similar skill set. Like you can't bring in somebody like Mac Jones. He doesn't have a similar skill set, and I think that's what Steichen is going to be looking for when he has these conversations with Ballard. Is you want somebody with a similar skill set, someone that's got legs, that's dual threat. So I do think that Jameis Winston, he could be that type. If you like the Steelers, that they're gonna sign one of those quarterbacks, whether it be Russell Wilson. If he doesn't sign, he'll probably go to the Raiders, and Justin Fields. But you also have to think about the price tag as well. And if you actually go down the list of the free agent quarterbacks, I disagree a little bit. I think Darnold is going to get anywhere from the 30 to 40 million range. But then you also have to take into account Matthew Stafford. He's supposed to meet at the combine. Well, his people are supposed to meet with the GM to nail down this this upcoming contract. And if that doesn't happen, then Aaron Rodgers is probably going to go there. And what happens with Stafford? There's just a lot of moving parts that we don't even know. But I do like the thought of Jameis Winston, but I also do like the thought of Jackson Dart because he does have legs, but
Yes,
just
yes.
like what Harish said, he does play a little bit out of control. But when he's right, he's one of he can possibly be one of the top quarterbacks in the country. He had games like that, but just like anybody, I just saw a comment from Cody. Tank for Arch. I like it, but
Yes, please.
yeah, that's gonna be at least a couple of years for that man.
Well,
What do you
another
guys
thing
think about? What do you guys think about Tyler's show? You guys know anything about Tyler's show? He's another guy that's gotten a lot of like hype over the last it was like 24 hours, which is crazy.
too.
Anybody familiar with Tyler's show at all?
I am not.
I'm not.
Okay. So for those of you guys that are not familiar with Tyler Show is a quarterback who he played for the Raiders, the Red Raiders, Texas Tech. So I got to watch him up front and personal for a couple of years. Again, a guy who can make a lot of really good throws, a guy who could thread the needle. He can throw the ball down the field. He can make the short routes. He can make the end running routes. He's a little bit mobile. He's not like you're not going to find a lot of guys that are Anthony Richardson athletic, right? That just doesn't exist, right? But that's probably somebody that could be interested, like a third, fourth rounder. If you're interested in taking a flyer, like you probably trade up in something like that. That's probably another guy to look out for. I think you'll find a lot in this week's combine. Quarterbacks are going to be looked at a lot because this is considered a weak quarterback class, right? Even if you look at a Cam Ward, he's got an amazing skill set, but Cam Ward to me, like when I look at Cam Ward, I look at a guy who's just a playground quarterback, right? A guy who just like goes out there nonchalantly makes a lot of really, really crazy throws. I don't know if Cam Ward, when he's been tested, right, at Miami to play a real defense, I'm not convinced Cam Ward can do defense. And that's where I think he probably lacks for me. Is he's extremely talented. He's a playground quarterback, but can he read a defense? Is something I'd be really interested in hearing about. And I think Shedeur Sanders is the most accurate quarterback in this draft. Like Shedeur Sanders, when he's got an open pocket and he's got a clean pocket, extremely, extremely accurate. And it's not like he's had a lot of great receivers, right? Obviously, you have Travis Hunter, but Travis Hunter is a two-way player who's just, again, just an athletic freak, right? Beyond that, they've just given him a bunch of guys. Joe Horn Jr. is another guy that they've had that's been pretty good. I think Shedeur Sanders is very accurate, but I don't know if he has the tendency to hold on to the ball a lot and for a very long time. So maybe there's something. Those are two guys that are obviously at the top of the list. The Tyler Show, Quinn Ewers, Jackson Dart. I don't like that mid to late round, and I'm not really familiar with was it Tyler O'Rourke? Is that the Indiana quarterback?
Yeah.
And what I saw of him in the two games I watched him against good competition, he was terrible. So
Yeah.
like,
What-
I
what-
don't know.
He tore his ACL, didn't he?
Yeah, I think
No, he
so.
played this season.
He got hurt.
I think late in the season. I think he tore his ACL.
He could have. I don't remember. He might have. I don't. But didn't he play? He played in the bowl game.
Yeah, he
played in the,
against,
playoff.
Notre Dame. Yeah.
He didn't play very well, but he played. And those are and again he
Yeah.
played against NFL corners. Like Notre Dame has NFL corners. Like that secondary is very good. And he did not play very well at all.
So what about Will Howard? Where he ranked in that spot? I know you guys feel about them.
No, absolutely not.
Will Howard is a mediocre. Will Howard, like people like to say how like players have gotten like insane amount of skill sets around them. Will Howard is exactly that. Like,
I watched Will Howard for 3 years because
careful.
I am a K-State guy and a Big 12 guy at heart, and I am not impressed. And I will continue to say this. I know it didn't happen in the championship game, but when he had 3-star wide receivers, weapons, whatever you want to call it, He always buckled when the pressure was on his shoulders. No, absolutely not. I don't care if he's 7 foot tall and can throw it 200 yards. He will always buckle under pressure. Absolutely not.
But we're talking about a competition. We're not talking about him starting. You know, we don't
Well,
unless we're
competition
replacing our
could mean
quarterback.
he could
Yeah,
start, right? I mean, competition
I
could
feel
mean
like
he could start.
the competition has to be AR needs to feel like he might not start.
yeah.
Yeah.
Like it has to be somebody that could come in and start if he beats AR out.
Yeah, and a guy that could start and be productive, right? Like if you're saying, hey, you beat out AR, what you're telling that guy is that you are the guy that we're going,
Yeah.
and we are convinced that we can win with you. We're not trying to win games or hold on to save face. Like we're saying, if you beat out AR, you're going to be the guy, and we trust that you can lead this team.
Well, you guys didn't mention possibly trading for JJ McCarthy.
What the?
Not coming off of an ACL, and plus, I think JJ McCarthy is going to be the quarterback at Minnesota. There's a reason why they're not going to re-sign Sam Darnold.
There's a possibility they could. You know, right now we don't. Everything is on the table, so we don't know where everybody stands. There's gonna be a lot of moving parts everywhere. Every team, you know, they said Stafford. They said Stafford could be going to the Bears. I mean the Browns. So, and they got a quarterback already that's making too much money. So you know, we don't know. We don't know what's going on or going to happen.
We had a Matt Stafford opportunity 4 years ago, and we didn't take it. That ship has sailed.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't want that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
He's 30.
As much as I love Matt Stafford, I think he's a great quarterback. That ship sailed 4 years ago, not for $50 million.
no way, buddy.
He's got probably 3 years left. He's 37 years old. Like,
We don't need
Yeah,
to continue that ship either.
no.
I mean, I don't think so either because we don't know what we're gonna do with our line. We don't know we're gonna get our center, resign our center. We don't know what's gonna happen with Braden. So I don't want to. It's unknown right now. You bring in a guy that you know we know Matthew Stafford could beat out AR or would beat out AR, but with the issues with offensive line right now, I don't want to take that chance because we've done that with Rivers, we've done that with Matt Ryan, and that shit was failed. So I don't want that again. I don't want to see that.
Yeah, I mean, we'll see what happens. There's a lot to happen. I mean, we got free agency in a couple of weeks, which you know historically Chris Ballard doesn't participate in. He basically acts like it doesn't exist. So we'll see what happens. You know, I guess the second question, and just moving along here, the second question is: do you agree with the QB1 competition? Do you agree that there should be a competition to begin with?
Absolutely. Like we saw what happened this year. You know, he was the number one quarterback, and the backup was Flacco. Nobody even thought that Flacco was going to play unless Anthony Richardson got injured. You need to be able to look behind you. You want to be able to look behind you and wonder who is standing behind you, who can replace you. You need to have that type of you just need to have that type of
Pressure.
risk when you're playing. When you are an NFL quarterback, you need to have to worry about who is going to replace you or if you can be replaced, because a lot of these, you know, he was drafted number 4 overall, as we all know. And so he probably didn't think that he was going to be replaced, but you need to be looking over your shoulder. And there has to, in order for him to reach his full potential or be able to see, you know, what he is actually going to be. What is this going to be, year 3? He hasn't, he's probably played a full season now with the injuries, but nobody knows what he's going to be at this point. And we're going to have to figure that out, if not by the end of this year, the following year, because quarterbacks are going to start coming out and he's going to have to be replaced if he's not the guy.
Awesome.
Yeah, I agree. Definitely needs to happen. He hasn't done enough. He hasn't stayed healthy. So we need to bring someone in to push him to be better. And you know, if he doesn't get better, like you said, he has to be replaced anyways. So I think it's the right thing to do if we do it right.
Josh?
I mean, I love competition for all the positions. So it happens to be the quarterback position right now. He played 15 games in 2 seasons. Like Ryan said, full season within 2 seasons, played full season. At all, really. I mean, he played 11 games and then with 5 last year. He needs to feel the pressure of losing his job because right now he hasn't had that. As we said, Flacco is not going to beat him out. Even though Flacco got 19 years of experience, Flacco was just as worse. Flacco lost. I mean, he had more wins than Flacco last year. The previous year we had Gardner. Gardner he's talented, but he's not a great quarterback. When he had the opportunity to be a starting quarterback with the Raiders, guess what he did? Got a bench for Aiden McConnell, which is bad. Which is bad. So our backup list is pretty. I mean, Sam Ellinger is not beating him out, and I'm not shitting on Sam Ellinger, but that ship has sailed as well. We need a threat of a guy that's going to take his job. That threat would be Justin Fields. Could be, like I said, we listed the names already. Sam Darnold, list those names that we know for a fact could beat him out, hands down. Actually, there's no competition. When you ask me, you bring those guys in, there's no competition. You bring those guys in to start because of their history. I mean, Justin Fields already feel like a bust. They've been calling him a bust for the past 3 seasons. The Bears cut him and build a team around Caleb Williams instead of giving him that same team that could have went somewhere. They would have won more than the game. 4 games, 3 games. Can't even remember how many games they won with the Chicago, but they had a reset. Far as head coaching. Now they got a better coach, but they could have gave that team and that coach to Justin Fields, and now he has a reset and probably feel like he got something to prove. But you add that nucleus with AR, who still has something to prove and still have issues with accuracy, still have issues with the way he plays on the field. Happy feet, as what Shane Steichen says on his press conference. We need that, man. We definitely. I agree with the competition. We just have to make the right decision. Is it going to be the guy that's going to take over and be the starter? Is it going to be the guy that's going to push AR? Right now, it's just to be seen.
For sure. I think competition is necessary, right? And I think every QB needs competition. You've got to have somebody there to push you. You've got to have somebody there that's doesn't even have to be like the same skill set as you, right? Just somebody that can put some pressure on you to help you always build on your game, right? And competition isn't just relative to football. It's just life, right? In life, when you're trying to accomplish something, you have to have somebody there right next to you to help push you and to help, even in a way, like build a bond and a friendship in a friendly, competitive way. That has nothing to do with, just this situation alone. I think competition in life in general is a really good thing. So I absolutely believe that there needs to be a competition. And just looking at some of this, the comments, Hunter, who had Trent Baalke almost keep his job for the same reasons Ballard kept his. Says that we need to fire Ballard. Thank you, Captain Obvious. I think we've known this for about 4 years now. I wish you could tell us something that we already knew. Teresa says, I think competition is absolutely necessary to improve. Very, very true. Cold Day TV says, fire Ballard. Or Hunter said, fire Ballard. And then Cold Day says, buy the team from Irsay. That's not going to happen. I think it's time for his kids to take over, right? I think that's
for the people that keep saying that is sell a team, that's ignorant. I mean, I know some people are trolling, some people are, just upset. They're not selling a team. We just need to change, transition to another, the different ownership with his daughters are capable of doing it. Selling a team is just ignorant. Yeah. So I just want to make that clear because I get our own fans say the same thing. Sell a team. That's stupid. Do you know who would buy the team? It takes a lot of time. It takes a lot to buy the team.
Yeah, it's not like somebody wakes up. It's not like buying a house where you're like, hey, let me go make an offer, right? First off, the team has to be put up for sale.
Correct.
Right. And then it has to go through like a board of regents. Like there's a whole process to just selling a team. But yeah, I can't believe y'all tried to troll me about Trevor Lawrence and bring up Sam Darnold. LOL. Trevor Lawrence is one of the. Listen, you don't want to get started on a Trevor Lawrence competition. Talk about a guy that hasn't lived up to his expectations. Trevor Lawrence is right up there. And then look, I bet the next thing you're going to do is say, well, the Jaguars haven't done anything. Well, if he was a generational talent like you guys touted him to be, you wouldn't need the Jaguars to do anything for him to be successful. He would have been successful on his own because that's kind of like what generational talents did. We had one of those guys. His name was Andrew Luck, and he did exactly that with half the skill set, half the team that Trevor Lawrence ever had. So I don't want to hear about Trevor Lawrence. Trevor Lawrence, yeah, never mind.
I want to add to that before we move on to the next topic. Cody always been trolling us about the Colts with the team that he's been supporting for probably 2 decades and never seen the team do anything significant other than what they did a couple weeks ago, sign a new head coach and then new GM after firing Bokey, who they riot to get fired, which we need to do the same thing for Chris Ballard, but that's another story for another day. And his team ain't done nothing. You got a generational quarterback who's on his 3rd coach. And how many seasons? How long has Trevor Lawrence been in the league?
I think this is year 5 for Lawrence.
Year 5 and 3 head coaches. Three head coaches. Yeah. You had one Super Bowl head coach, and you had Urban Meyer, who everybody in the fan base wanted. And he got fired mid-season in his first year. And you fired Dougie P after you was happy to get him as well. And you fired him after 3 years or whatever. So let's not talk about trolling for Trevor Lawrence and talk about Sam Darnold. We bringing in Sam Darnold for a competition, not to be the quarterback for the future.
Yeah, start a GoFundMe. Yeah, Cold Day. I don't think you know what you're talking about. I don't. If you're trying to troll, you're a really bad troll. I can give you some lessons in trolling if you need some. Don't hit me up. I don't want to sell the team. I just want to go back to winning. Teresa, don't listen to Cold TV. Cold TV. His takes are just as cold as his username. So. I wouldn't worry about them. Yeah, I saw us win a playoff game in 2022. Awesome. That was approximately 900 days ago. So that was a long time ago. But hey, I'm glad you can hold on to that. I can do the math for you real quick if you'd like me to. 2022 was 3 years ago. I don't know if you know this, Cold Day. It's 365 days. That was actually over 900 days ago. That was 1,095 days ago. So we're closer to 1,100 than we are to 1. So that's a long time ago. I don't know if you know what that is. But anyway, I digress. I know we've got a couple more things to get to.
Mm-hmm.
Free agency is in a couple more weeks. And so we start to write out our lists, right? Who do we want?
Yeah.
Where is this team at? What do we need? What does this team need to move forward, right? What do we need to get over our hump? And our hump is 8, 9, 9, and 8. That is our hump. So I'm going to start with you this time, Josh. Tell me what your free agent wish list is as of today.
We talked about possibly, drafting a safety. But I look at it, why I draft a safety when you can get a guy from Miami. I think he's a free agent, Javon Holland. He'd be a great pickup, great addition in our back end. I think is it Sheldon Rankins? DT. I know Allen from Washington got the clearance to seek a trade, but I think the price tag will be too much for us to get him to pair with Buckner. I know everybody loves Grover Stewart, but if we're talking about winning, talk about adding parts for our new defensive coordinator. That's what you do. You go out and get guys that'll help with this defense, because we got the parts on defense. We got what we need on linebacker coach, safety coach. We got what we need, even DN coach. Just adding more guys to the pieces and make this defense be what it's supposed to be, which is supposed to be aggressive. That's Lou defense. He's more aggressive. We haven't seen that in a while. So just adding those two guys. Cornerback wise, I don't know who's available for his cornerback. I haven't looked at the list. I have to look at that. If you can go with other guys, ask the other guys what they need. I can give you the answer as well too. So I guess back at running back, I would love to see with get a guy like Naheem Hines backs. You know, we definitely miss him. Definitely the type of running back that the defense will keep an eye on because we haven't had that. And we desperately need that other than what JT can bring. JT had a bounce back year, so having a guy like him or J.K. Dobbins, somebody as a backup, that definitely will help us in the passing and run game.
Austin.
Yeah, I also had Javon Holland on my list. Obviously, safety's a need, especially if we don't bring back Blackman, which I feel like we won't, but I'm not sure. So Holland, and I think Dre Greenlaw. I think I would like to bring him in, maybe. And then we mentioned Justin Fields. If he becomes a free agent, I would like to bring him in as well.
Or the guy I mentioned, Charvis Ward. Charvarius Ward.
Yeah, that's an
corner-
interesting.
cornerback. Yeah. I can't say
Ryan?
his name.
My top free agent is the safety from the Dolphins, Javon Holland. He not only is he a good free safety, you know, he's 25 years old and he's going to fit that scheme for Anarumo pretty perfectly because the way his scheme works is a safety just doesn't sit back. A safety is going to come up to the line and make tackles, and that is exactly what Javon Holland does. Another safety would probably be the one that played for the Raiders, Moerig. He fits the scheme as well. But the Colts are definitely going to have to upgrade the secondary to start off with, and then it's going to depend if the Colts re-sign Ryan Kelly and Will Fries. You know, if they, though, I see this unfolding in two ways. If they don't re-sign Fries, they're going to have to draft one, and I am terrified of Ballard drafting a guard in the draft because he's going to do it in the first round and completely ignore the glaring hole on the Colts offense, which is Anthony Richardson not having a weapon at tight end that's actually worth a shit. So that's what I have.
I kind of wanted to go in the bag here because Javon Holland is very obvious, right? Javon Holland addresses a need. You don't have to go get a safety in the first round. It kind of gives you the flexibility to go draft the Tyler Warren at that point, right? But if I look in the bag and kind of what we need some help at safety. The name I really like, and then you look at like what Lou Anarumo is looking for in his personnel, right? There's really two positions that I think you go address here. And number one is linebacker. I think you need to go get a linebacker that's versatile. He really needs a versatile linebacker that can play in pass coverage. Dre Greenlaw obviously is somebody that comes to mind there. He did have an injury. Was it like in the NFC Championship of the Super Bowl? But it was just an ACL, and he's still, he's not like young by any means, but he's not old either. He's like what 28, 29 maybe, if I'm not mistaken.
I think it's 28, 27 or 28, I think.
But there was one guy that was on the list that I haven't really seen anybody mention. I really like Jeremy Chinn.
I liked Jeremy Chinn last year.
Oh yeah, definitely.
I think Jeremy Chinn is the guy that can really, really help this secondary today, right? He's again a versatile guy. He can play the run, he can play the pass. He's a very fast guy. A guy that could help you down the field, cover over the top. So Jeremy Chinn is somebody I really like. As far as linebackers go, and you talk about like hybrid positions and versatile guys, I really like Isaiah Simmons. He's also a guy that can play linebacker, can play in coverage. He's you can put him back at safety in certain aspects. He's a guy that's been known to play the hybrid positions, right? So I think Isaiah Simmons is somebody. Again, this is just not knowing what the money is right now because I haven't done that kind of deep dive into it. But if we're just talking about names, those are two guys I really, really like. And then you look at backup running back. I know Josh mentioned, Naheem Hines. That just like to me, not Naheem Hines seems like the fun pick, right? It's a guy that we're used to, but to me, it doesn't fit the build. I like J.K.
Mhm.
Godwin, a guy that's different from Jonathan Taylor.
Yes.
He's a speed guy. He's a guy that can catch the ball out of the backfield. He's a guy again just gives Anthony Richardson another safety net, right? And
Mhm.
it addresses another need for the Colts as far as mentioning. So those are probably like three guys that I was like, man, these are three guys that could really help this team. And you've got to start to also build. You've got to build um, some talent on this roster, especially on the defensive side of the ball, which we severely lack. So I guess those are three guys that I would mention. Anybody else that we haven't talked about that you guys are curious about?
Chase on.
I saw Chase on.
Yeah.
I did see Chase on too.
Yeah. Yeah. Linebacker, Greenlaw. I know Dre Greenlaw. Is Greenlaw? I can't. Is it? Yeah, from Niners.
Yep.
Those are two names that stood out. I just couldn't remember their names. I had a brain for it. I did saw Hassan Reddick, but I mean what he did with the Jets, F him. Just remember, Matt Judon. I don't know.
Right? I think he's an outside linebacker in a 3-4 scheme. I don't know if that really fits what we want to do. I could be wrong. He could play in a 4-3. I think it just comes down to the scheme. I got it.
I agree.
Anybody else you guys? Cool. Josh, I know you had the NFL draft on here, so I'll let you take the mic and kind of host this and finish this out. What you got on the draft?
I know as of I guess since the season ended, and it's been about the NFL draft. What could we get with the 14th pick once they show where we will be drafting at? So I would ask. I would like to elaborate or talk about the 14th pick and what we could get. And just like I said, recently we've been talking about this guy from Penn State. He wears number 44 as the previous tight end that wore 44 for Indy. Tight end Ty Warren. Everybody is talking about this guy, and rightfully so. He is a great tight end. There are other tight ends in the draft that are great, but this guy here is and would be a great pick at 14. And we could definitely solve all our problems. I know a lot of fans probably have pushback on why we would get this guy at 14 when there's other tight ends that we can draft. Some from Texas. You got one from Notre Dame. You got, it's other lists, other tight ends in this draft that we could get, but none of them are like Ty Warren. I know Ryan spoke on that before we start the show, so I'll let Ryan go ahead and elaborate on why we should get Ty Warren at 14.
Well, I want to address one of these questions. Cold Day TV said, question for the guy in the hat. I think that's me. Tyler Warren or Colson Loveland? I'm going to say Tyler Warren all day. Because because Colson Loveland, like he's a good athlete, but when it came to Tyler Warren, like he showed so much more athleticism, so much more separation when it comes to running his routes. Like he's really crisp at this point in his career, and he hasn't even played a down in the NFL. Colson Loveland, he's a great talent, but he didn't show a lot, and I understand he didn't have a great quarterback this season, but you can't compare tomatoes to apples right now, and that's the way I see it. And to continue on Tyler Warren, he is the best tight end in this draft. There is no ifs, ands, or buts about it. He is that guy. The biggest problem that I see with the Colts right now is the fact that the Saints, it's being reported that they want Tyler Warren bad. And, well, they're going to be drafting before the Indianapolis Colts. So is this going to be another Brock Bowers situation where somebody drafts him before the Colts do? And if that happens, I don't see the Colts taking a tight end right there. That they're going to end up going with somebody like Malachi Starks, or they'll be taking the best offensive guard in the nation out of Alabama. I can't remember his name off the top of my head, but he's the best offensive guard in the draft. And so it's just going to be, I really hope that nobody selects Tyler Warren, because Anthony Richardson, developmental wise, this pick right here would help him out tremendously. And the Colts have to figure that out.
I do want to address a comment from Joshua Bronner saying first round tight ends are nuts. Didn't we just see what Brock Bowers just did as a first round tight end on a shitty team? Broke several records with a shitty quarterback, shitty team who's drafting top 6, top 5.
He was their offense.
He was their offense. You put a tight end, not like a Ty Warrens or Brock Bowers, in an offense that has quarterback issues, who has the weapons, better weapons than what Raiders had. You definitely could see improvement in the offense, and you'll see a quarterback accuracy in his comp rising. So it's not a bad thing to get a tight end at 14, because we just seen a bad organization that, like as you just said, they went 5-12. In that tight end, where's the offense? Who I think I had 1,000 yards with 2 bad quarterbacks. Go ahead.
Let me add on top of that. If you have a question about the Colts drafting a tight end in the first round, go ahead and watch any Colts game this season, and then come back and hit me up, Hot Zone Sports. You can DM me, you can do whatever, and tell me that a tight end is not important, because his safety valve, he is always looking at the tight end in their direction. Always. Not the running backs. That's not a safety valve. He's always looking at the tight end position. So yes, this position needs to get right.
I agree. Go ahead, Austin or Harish.
Yeah, I would say most years, first round tight end, I would be a no-go. But there are guys like Brock Bowers last year. Like we obviously didn't want to draft him last year. But if we did, we wouldn't have that problem that we had all year. Now we have another chance of possibly getting a Tyler Warren, who, like Ryan said, is very much the best tight end in the draft and would help our offense a lot. I think if he's there, we have to take him. It's a position of need for us. Yes, our defense needs work, but there are a lot of safeties, a lot of defensive players. This draft is deep with depth and defense. So I think if we have a chance to get Tyler Warren, we have to take it.
I mean, I wouldn't be mad. If we sign a tight end a safety or a cornerback in free agency, obviously that that need is off the board. So then we go to the next need. Do we need pass rush, tight end, receiver, running back? Obviously, they wouldn't draft their first round running back. I saw Junty on them interviewing Junty. I doubt they do that, but we go to the next need if they get the cornerback or safety in free agency. So I do understand your concern, Joshua. It's just that I just wouldn't be mad either way. We definitely need help on defense as well. But tight end has been our weakness. It's been our weakness for how many years, Harish? With last 6 years, 7 years since Jack Doyle
Retired.
Yeah. So yeah, it's tough.
Forever.
Would you say, Harish?
That was forever and a day ago since Jack Doyle.
Yeah, I mean, we could mention, Ibram, but that was 1 year. He made the Pro Bowl, and then the next year he was ass. So we kept looking for a tight end replacement for a very long time. Jelani Woods is not it. Kylan Granson can be the guy, but right now he's not it. Will Mallory can be the guy, but he don't get enough offensive opportunities. So right now he's not it. But you get Tyler Warren, he is it, and would be it in our offense. So I understand your frustration, Josh. I'm not going to just totally, ignore your comment. It's just that, that having a tight end would, I won't say solidify our offense, but would be dangerous because we got a running back, we got receivers, but we don't have a tight end. And that Warren also can block too. So I mean, it just shows you that he's a multi weapon. He can do everything, just like Bowers did. Brock Bowers was probably a guy that we was mentioning last year as picking, I think 15 or whatever it was, 14 last year, and we didn't get him because the Raiders got him, and they didn't even need him. They was ass. They could have needed a quarterback. So it just to he said we feel like we spamming. Everybody know that it's a need. They know that that guy could bring a lot to this offense. So I get the spamming. It's just that everybody know what Tyler Warren can do in this offense, or a legit tight end can do in this offense. If it's not Tyler Warren, but go ahead, Austin. Or sorry to interrupt y'all. I just had to elaborate.
No, you're good. I said what I needed to say.
I've been thinking about this, and this question is a very, very good question. Bowers was killing it in college. Are y'all saying Tyler Warren is just as good? And I have a hot take. I think Tyler Warren's better than Brock Bowers. Like if you're telling me that Brock Bowers was a generational tight end, I think Tyler Warren is better than Brock Bowers because I've seen Tyler Warren do it from multiple positions. And he's bigger. He's got a lot of strength. He can also block better than Brock Bowers. If I look at just what I've seen of him and without looking at any tape and just going back, you don't do this often with tight ends I don't do this often with a lot of players. I think Tyler Warren's a generational. And like to me, he is a generational tight end, and I think he's just a guy that just can do it all right. He would flip this tight end room on its back, right? Because he's just so good. With that being said, I also agree with Joshua saying that this defense lacks talent.
Mhm.
There is a huge talent gap on this defense. Forget the guys that have done well. Forget the guys that we've developed or semi-developed or halfway developed. Like forget about all that stuff, right? This defense lacks pure talent. And when I look at this draft, I get that it's deep. I get that there's a lot of guys that you can get it at different places. But I look down this draft list, and I'm looking at the guys that you're getting on defense, right? Will Johnson, cornerback. We need desperate help at cornerback. We don't know what Juju Brents is. We still don't know what he is, right? You look at a guy like Jalen Walker, a guy, very, very good linebacker. I wouldn't draft a linebacker in the first round. I'm just saying who's out there, right?
Yeah.
A guy like Jahdae Barron, another guy who just flew up draft charts this year. Not surprised by me. I'm not surprised by Jahdae Barron. When he came back, I knew that he was something special. Mike Green is a name that a lot of guys don't talk about because he's the school that he goes to. But if you're looking for another edge rusher, which you need two, right? You need two. Newsflash: you have two ends of a defensive line, right? But
we got Quiddy.
Yeah, Quiddy Pay could take a bus tomorrow, and I wouldn't be sad. He could jump on a bus and he could announce that he's retiring tomorrow, and I wouldn't be sad. Hey man, thanks for all you've done, but that was a wasted draft. Right?
What about another hot take? With the news of the Bengals making Chase the highest paid player ever. What about Trey Henderson?
Yeah, I mean Trey Hendrickson is a guy that you could bring in. Again, is Ballard willing to spend the money and spend? But if you bring in a guy like Trey Hendrickson, you're bringing him in on the assumption that you're going to sign him for the next 3 years.
Yep. Like they did Buckner.
And he's 30 years old now, right?
I mean, he ain't taking a step back. He led the league in sacks, so I mean, he ain't taking a step back. So I mean, I get what you're saying too, bro.
If I was going to trade for a guy, you know who I would have traded for? Myles Garrett. That's the guy you trade for. That's a guy you if you're talking about giving up somebody and giving up draft capital for a guy to make an instant impact right now, I'd trade for Miles Garrett. That's a guy that's gonna. You talk about who's on your team. That's a guy that's gonna have influence on Latu as well, right? Now you've got somebody that can not only produce, but you have a young second year guy that can learn from him in a system hopefully that's actually going to utilize Latu the way that he should. And
It helps,
that's
but
what I would trade for.
it helps. But their GM said that he ain't going anywhere right now. Because I would trade this. I'll trade all the 25 picks for him.
Yeah.
I'll trade all every pick.
So
You can have
1
all
through
of them.
7. You got it.
I don't want to take a dig at my own self, but Luka Doncic was going to be a Maverick for life until 11 p.m. 3 weeks ago. No, nothing is firm in the sports.
Don't bring that up, man. Don't bring that up. It's still.
So, hey man, I'm still hurting while Luka Doncic is throwing threes up with his eyes closed right now. So
yeah, don't bring that up, man. Don't bring that up.
But
now.
but listen, there's no loyalty in sports. It's a business, and these guys are going to do what they do, so it's going to happen. But looks like Josh says, man, I wish you can join y'all sometime. Y'all are fun to talk to. Hey man, we just appreciate the engagement in the chat. So thank you so much for engaging with us. Subscribe, like, comment, do all those things. And, we'd love to chat with you guys. But yeah, if I'm taking like Malachi Starks again, if you don't go get the guy from Miami in free agency, then the next best thing in the draft, the best thing to get in the draft is Malachi Starks. Again, a versatile safety. He can play upfield. He can be up for the run game. Just a guy that can be everywhere, right? But you've got to get an infusion of talents on this defense, and if you don't address it in free agency, you have to go get something on defense. As much as I love Tyler Warren, I think he would be an instant impact, and I get like the impact that he has. Mm-hmm. Somebody's going to get him before 14, and Ballard's not going to trade up to go get him. I just feel it in my bones. That's not going to happen. Now, if the Brock Bowers rumors are true and they wanted Brock Bowers, they didn't want him enough, because if they really wanted Brock Bowers, they would have traded him. And they didn't. Yeah. So I have no reason to believe something would change this year. I've never been given any reason to believe in the last 10 years. So I'm going with they're either going to – they would trade down before they traded up. Because that's just a better thing to do. But there's other tight ends. Yeah, there's other tight ends in this draft that I think can be impacts as well. Harold Fannin Jr. is a guy that's also been like teases, like in our offense, would they move him to slot, and does that take away from Josh Downs? Like, that's something to think about. I don't know. So I don't know if he's necessarily the best fit. I think Gunnar Helm's another guy. Again, listen, I've waited 20 years to bring up Texas players in the draft and how relevant they can be and how impactful they can be for NFL teams. Mm-hmm. Reality is Texas has a lot of them right now. And they are spitting out talent like nobody's business. And so Gunnar Helm is a guy he's not as big, like built wise as Tyler Warren, but he can stretch the field for you. He's a guy that can play he's played in an RPO offense. He understands the RPO concepts. He understands where he can be utilized in those concepts. And you look at Shane Steichen, you talk about like tight end screens, you talk about RPO tight ends. Like there's ways that you could use Gunnar Helm in our offense that would make him valuable to this team as well. So that's kind of where I think we are, and I think over the next 60 days, as we start to iron things out, we'll start to get more and more into the weeds on specific prospects. We should probably do like a series where we focus in on certain positions.
I agree. Yeah, we definitely can iron those things out and make it happen. But just want to address the comments. Teresa said she always is a pleasure and great show. She'll troll us next time. We appreciate your trolling, Teresa. She's been great. Shout out to everybody that's been in the comments showing support. And Josh mentioned about off topic. How about those Cubbies in the spring training? Though I don't know anything about that. What are you?
I don't know anything about the Cubbies. Sorry.
Oh,
It
Go
sounds like it's either
Yankees.
funny or they suck.
Oh, the Cubs. Oh, well, I mean, yeah, none of us are Cubs fans, so I'm a Yankee. It's two Yankee, one Ranger. I don't know what team around like.
I'm just praying my team stays healthy this year, just like the Mavericks. So that's I'm on team pray for health. That's what team I'm on. All my teams are always hurt.
It's my baseball right now, but yeah, shout out for health. All this.
Different sport, same issue.
True.
Mhm.
If you guys don't have anything else, we can go ahead and get up out of here. It's good to be back. It's been a while. We took some time off to get everybody a break, and we're back. And for the future, we got season 4 on the way. Hopefully, we got some exciting things to come for as the team being good. Draft, free agency. I don't want to hold my breath on the draft. I'm sorry, free agency, which is incoming. The tampering period is in a couple of weeks. I don't hold my breath for that, but if he does do something different than he did in 8 years, I'll be surprised. I obviously will be more excited, but it got to all come together on the field, and it got to lead to winning, which we haven't been done lately. We haven't been winning lately. So, you guys have anything else before we get up out of here?
Really quickly, yes or no around the room. Braden Smith, walk or no?
Walk.
Yes.
Walk.
Walk. Yeah, Braden Smith can go. Hey, listen, we'll ship him on the same bus that we're putting Quiddy on.
And have you come?
Yeah,
He can go
listen. He can take his Achilles too.
If it's gonna give us cap, 'cause I think Braden cap would be 18 million. Sign me up.
I think Braden's probably. I thought it was 12. I think Braden's cap is the biggest one that can save us some money.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right. Because it would come, I think it's like 9 or something like that, but or 6 or something like that. Either way, 12 and 9. That's a good. Having those two, those contracts back, definitely would help us in free agency. But like I said, we know we had 100 million, we had 90 million, we had 70 million, we had 80 million, and Ballard chose to do nothing. So I don't want to hold my breath. But yeah, Brady can go. It was great while it was while he was here. I've always said he should have been the right guard instead of right tackle, but they didn't want to listen to me, so he can go. I've said it. I've said this since he got drafted. I said I watched him in Auburn. He was a right guard. They made him right tackle.
That was his natural position. Yeah.
Yes, and they said, "Well, we had a right guard then." I was like, "Yeah, but we had a right guard, and it was a position where they kept changing. They had Glow. He played a couple seasons, and they let him go to the Giants. So to solve that position, they could have gotten a right guard, moved him to right guard, and got a right tackle somewhere. But they didn't do that.
Yep, I agree.
So he can go ahead and go. What'd you say?
His RAS score wasn't high enough.
But yeah, if we don't have anything else, guys, we can go ahead and wrap this up. It's good to be back. We have another episode next week regarding the combine and other lists of things that we have that come up. There's going to be a lot of rumors. We're going to be linked to a lot of quarterbacks from Aaron Rodgers, Stafford. The list go on. It's gonna be annoying, but you guys have anything else before we get up out of here?
Nope.
Let's see what this is. Oh, yeah, that'd be great.
2026, bro. Can I get through like the second month of 2025 first? We're on 2026.
Yeah. Y'all go ahead and let everybody know y'all social medias and what y'all got coming up. That way we can get up out of here. Go ahead, Harish.
Yeah, you can find me at the Uncle Gandhi on Twitter. And then, of course, Longhorn Fan Battle Podcast, part of also the Fan Battle Network, live Thursday nights. Lots happening in the Texas program right now. The women are ranked number 1 for the first time in 21 years.
Mm-hmm.
Dwayne Aquina is back. For those of you guys that remember Dwayne Aquina from DBU days, he is back. Lots of fun stuff happening on the 40, so check us out. Me and my guy Tim Lane. And I'm here Tuesday nights, and then with the AFC South Fan Battle Podcast throughout the year. So
yes. we welcome that back. We'll be some of us will be on the episode as well, or be on those be on those shows as well. So go ahead, Austin.
Yeah, you can find me on Twitter at CookieAustin2.
Last but not least, go ahead, Ryan.
You can find me at Hot Zone Sports on every platform. I'm going to be releasing a new podcast episode on YouTube. You can subscribe at Hot Zone Sports. Just go ahead and look for the logo. And yeah, we post. We're back. We're going to start posting more content, more shorts, reels, whatever the heck you want to call them. And yeah.
Perfect. You guys can't see my face. You can just see my screen moving. I'm still excited, to be back. But you can find me at Who Is Josh Senior on just pretty much Instagram, TikTok, and Twitter. You can follow us as the podcast at Horseshoe_Mob on all the platforms, and subscribe to our channel. Yeah, that's gonna be it, guys. We'll be back next week with more content to share with you guys, and we thank y'all for tuning in tonight on the Horseshoe Mob Podcast, year 4 on the way. Hopeful, excited things for us, the team winning. But we get into that further along in the episodes in the season. So good night to everybody. Y'all stay safe, and we'll be here next week at the same time for the shoe.
Peace.
On 1 out snap, it's a fact that I'm unstoppable. Forget your defense, nothing but